Hello guys, welcome to another GWENT video. Um, I don't have the capability of editing because I'm too lazy and I'm just not a technical guy. But what ended up happening was my OBS crashed. That was really interesting. But yeah, here we are. We successfully ranked 2 of the faction hero abilities, but I will go over them again. But yeah, let me. Last time I made a GWENT video was a year ago. So you guys are like, oh, you stopped playing Gwent. That's not true. I made it to rank 3 at one point, and then I stopped playing. And I was really close to rank 2, but then I stopped playing because college just started. And I also got a girlfriend. And one that's actually in real life. that's that's kind of embarrassing now, dude. Honestly, because having a girl long distance, it's kind of just crazy. You know, it makes me feel stupid. Makes me feel stupid. So here we are. I started playing Gwent again just a tad bit ago, like a month. Uh, and I feel like I'm in a state now. I've been watching more streams. I never stopped watching streams on YouTube. So even though I wasn't playing when these new abilities came out, because there's a new ability for each faction, I knew about them. But ever since I started going again, I've been watching more streams, more YouTube, and of course I've been playing more. The reason why I bring up streams and YouTube is because right now I've only had experience in rank 23 to 13 of this new patch, and of course you can't really evaluate the deck that I'm playing and the deck my opponent's playing if I'm in such a low rank because the opponent might be absolute dog pile. They might be an absolute dog pile, and ended up all my opponents have been dog piles except for like 3, which I still only lost 1 so far. So I mean, it is how it is. But I'm ranking the hero abilities based on patch 7.0, and hopefully I'll be uploading more again, showing you guys my nice Arnjolf list. I also got a Northern Realms list cooking in the oven. So yeah, I got some things. I also got a list that I did net deck, but we keep that on the down low because we know Connor Gidry, we don't like the net deck around here. But let's begin. All right, in the A tier we put Uprising and Precision Strike. I can't remember the names of these. I remembered Uprising though. Uprising. I mean, it's just the best Northern Realms leader ability right now. And the only reason why I put it in A is because the ability itself is S tier, but the decks, I mean, every other faction is kind of just better right now. So that's why I had to put the this in A. Whenever I'm putting these abilities in tier, by the way, I'm rating them on how good they are with their decks, of course, what decks they're played with, and of course if they don't see deck play, and of course I'm not just gonna put them in F. I'm just going to evaluate how good they possibly could be. But with Uprising, of course, it's an S tier, but with the current state, it's A tier due to its decks. Its deck being worse than other ones. And then we have Precision Strike, which is used with the Symbiosis deck, and it really slaps. I mean, it's an 11-point swing if you use all your charges. It's thinning if you use it round 1 and 2, and I mean it's overall just pretty fun time. It's a pretty fun time, just slap a boogaloo. Um, Next in rank B in tier B, we have Vicious Slash. Uh, God, Pincer Maneuver, Mystic Echo, Deadeye Ambush, and Mahakam Forge. I remember all those Goyatel ones. Okay. So, oh my god, I already forgot the Vicious Slash. Right, I rated it up here because it gets rid of it gets rid of good cards your opponent has. Right, it's damage, just a nice damage with the bleeding effect too. So it's good in a long round and it's good in a short round. I just think Uprising is definitely better than this ability because of just the tempo swing, but Vicious Slash is definitely a really good hero power, and I've seen it a little bit, so I mean, definitely could be used. Pincer Maneuver, I mean, I stopped playing. It got nerfed. I believe it was 13. Now it's at 12 provisions, but it's still a really good hero power. Don't get me wrong. Definitely still viable. and usable. Why is this like this? This kind of just looks weird. All right, let me put that. Oh god, it doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, but pincer maneuver. It's still really good, and you can still really pull off some nutty things by playing 2 cards in one turn, especially one that you just searched for out of the thin air. It might actually be not used as much now that the new spell Oniermancy, I think it's called. I might have just butchered that, but it might not be seeing as much play because Ornamency. But I mean, and then again, I mean, it's just pincer maneuver. It's just a better because you get 2 cards. You get to play 2 cards at the same time instead of Ornamency, which is only one. Mystic Echo, Harmony got nerfed, so it's only correct that it's right where it is right now. Deadeye Ambush, elves are pretty good right now. Same with Mahogany Forge, dwarves are pretty good right now. Um, yeah, Mystic Echo is people also run Mystic Echo with Symbiosis, but I think Deadeye Precision is better than Mystic Echo. So for that reason, I put it in B tier and Deadeye and not Deadeye, but Precision Strike in A. In C tier we have Royal Inspiration, Inspired Zeal, Guerrilla Tactics, and Call of Harmony. I think those are the names. Don't kill me. So Royal Inspiration. Uh, I mean, it's just a good it's a good standard hero power. Um, is it gonna be used? Probably. I mean, I could see someone trying to make a deck out of this, and I mean, yeah, I mean, it helps your engines stay alive. It's just a nice little 1 point every 2 turns. I mean, it's 5 points. Uh, a 10 card round. But it could be worth more depending on what you hit with it. The same thing with Inspired Zeal. You're getting you're getting like a little less buffs. Like say on average, you might get how many? If you're drawing 16 cards, that's like 8 buffs. So Royal Inspiration giving you 8 separate buffs. Inspired Zeal gives you 5 less, but instead you get to put Zeal on your units. So I mean, I feel like that's a nice trade-off. And the only thing I think Inspired Zeal should also be 16 provisions because right now Inspired Zeal is only 15. I think it needs a buff to 16, but I think Royal Inspiration or Inspired Zeal could be rotated depending on the type of deck you have. You have more order abilities, you might want to go Inspired Zeal. If you don't, then you probably want to go Royal Inspiration. Guerrilla Tactics. Right now, I think Guerrilla Tactics is really cool to use, especially since you can get those roll-locked creatures out of there and put yours back in because there's a lot of movement right now, and you don't want to deal with that. Now, what I'll tell you is that Guerrilla Tactics is not going to save you from those 4-drop, 1 armor, 7 provisions cards because their passive abilities will still stay active, and that's really annoying. But I mean, at least they can't use their order ability. So if they want to get those extra like 3 points in that one round, just no, you can't. But other than that, yeah, Gorilla Tactics, I think it's a really fine ability for now. And you can still definitely use a movement archetype. And with the weather changes, it might actually be you might be able to make a weather deck with this. Um, Call of Harmony. Right now, Harmony got nerfed, and if you did want to run a Harmony deck, I mean, Mystic Echo is the way to go. So I mean, that's all I have to say about that one. Next thing is Mobilization. Uh, I think Mobilization is too slow right now. Um, Depending on what bronze you pull out, um, I just, I just think Mobilization is just not the best hero power right now. Um, Nah, that's all I gotta say. Honestly, it's just not. I mean, you have the prerequisite of you have to already have the unit on the field, and of course you could just play unit on the field and of course use it instantly to summon that out. But you might not, want another duplicate of that unit on that round. It's very trivial, and I mean, Pincer Maneuver is literally just a better version of this. So, you don't really need this. Then we have Invigorate. Invigorate, of course, at maximum, it's always going to give you 10 points, and some of those points could be carryover, and that seems insane. But right now, Gwent is very swing heavy, and I don't think Invigorate is going to help you pull off the job. It's just going to be really tragic. Last but not least, we have Stockpile in the F tier. Stockpile is garbage. just why run it. You can run Royal Inspiration instead. I don't. I think Royal Inspiration might just be better instead of using Stockpile right now. Right? Like that's just the sad truth. I mean, Stockpile. I mean, the only way you're getting me to play Stockpiles is at like 19 provisions. It's bad. All right, now we're on to Skelliger. This is what I started talking about before OBS crashed. So, yeah. Blaze of Glory, right here. So you get to move a Skellige unit from your deck to your graveyard and then damage it. So it's Hjalmar in the sense that, instead of your graveyard, it's your deck, and you get to toss it at someone, and then you set up your graveyard for a possible Hjalmar. You could double Hjalmar in one turn, which would be pretty sick. Thing is, as I said, of course, I wasn't playing Gwent when these abilities came around, but I was still watching a little bit of YouTube and streams. Never saw this in play, and as I played Gwent, still haven't seen it in play. As I watch YouTube and more streams, haven't seen it. I have not seen this ability. Now, this ability, granted, it's pretty solid. You see, the thing is, I think there's only like 3 abilities being used in Skellige right now. There's only 3, and the rest are just kind of thrown to the dumps because they're not as good as them. But I think Skellige has some solid abilities. I'm going to give Blaze of Glory a C tier because I think it's solid, but of course it's not as great as what others are. Next we have, I believe, Onslaught. Yes, Onslaught. It's the opposite of Royal Inspiration, and I mean for that, I mean both the archetypes damage or buff. I mean it's kind of just the same. In the sense that so I want to buff my stuff so my buff gets stronger, or I want to damage your stuff so my stuff gets stronger. And it's the same thing, and I mean I haven't seen Onslaught a lot. The same thing with Royal Inspiration. So I mean I think they're just even at this point. Next we have Reckless Fury. Split 8 damage randomly between all enemy units, ignoring their armor. This adds 15. Reckless Fury, I think it's actually being substituted right now for Second Wind, which is kind of interesting to see. I've actually been seeing that. I think I could give Reckless Fury a solid B tier, but I can't go any higher. It could honestly be in C tier, but I haven't seen it a lot, and I think it's being used in the Greatsword decks where people aren't running Second Wind, but I just think Second Wind is a lot better. Sacrificial Vanguard. Discard a card, then draw a card. On round start, refresh this ability. Whenever you discard a card, damage a random unit by 1. So here's the thing. If you're ever making a deck with discards in it, like say you have Burna or the Scalds in them, you're probably not running Sacrificial Vanguard. Because Burna and the Scalds, they just give you nice little, tempo to begin with. You don't really need them, per se. You don't need the Sacrificial Vanguard to make them any better, because with them, you're just thinning your deck. Sacrificial Vanguard might thin your deck too much. And, overall, it's an alright ability. I mean, you don't even get to, if it said draw a card, then discard a card, if they would make it 1 less provision, they made it 15 provisions and said draw a card, then discard, I think it'd see a lot more play. But because you had to discard the card first, then draw, it's kind of like, alright, whatever. Alright, next, Arnjolf. I actually don't know what his own ability is, or what it's named. And I'm the Arnjolf. Patricidal Fury. Oh, that makes sense. I only know it as Arnjolf. At least I knew it, because I see it all the time. But the Arnjolf ability, it's a, biased-wise, but, reality, I mean, right now, I think it's a solid B tier. Especially with the deck I've been using. I said this, I don't know if I said this yet. I know I said it in the last, the last try I did creating this video, the last attempt. But, of course, I've only ever played rank 23 to rank 13 so far. I've been running this nice Arnjolf deck, this nice Arnjolf Devotion deck. And, the problem is, I'm fighting some of the meta decks. I fought an Ethereal deck. I fought some of the Symbiosis decks. But they're piloted by bad people. And I question why I even belong in existence after watching them play. Uh, but the ethereal deck, I feel like, doesn't take a lot to run. But of course, you can still misplay, which the guy did, but it doesn't take a lot to run. So the fact that my Arnjolf deck was able to defeat that shows that Arnjolf itself is pretty decent and solid. Also, with the Symbiosis deck, beating the Symbiosis deck, I've only lost to. Did I even lose this season yet? I don't think I've lost this season yet. I know last season I lost before Master Mirror came out, but this season I think my Arnjolf is actually just on a perfect streak right now, which is actually insane. I don't want to say it is, but I think it is. Um, okay, enough of sucking Arnolf's dick. Next, second wind. Uh, I mean, it's just it's just a good ability. Uh, everyone's running it right now besides me. Everyone's running great swords, and great swords are just slapping everyone's mother back and forth. It's kind of just disgusting. I fought a great sword deck. I mean, I beat it, but of course, again, as I said before, guys were trash, so you can't really, compare. But I mean, yeah, in the pro rank, everyone's just slaughtering with second win great swords right now, and it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. Next, we have Ursine Ritual. This ability, um, hasn't seen a lot of play this patch, but I still think it's actually pretty solid. And it's probably still used a tad bit, so I'm gonna give it the nice little B tier here. Now, what this says is that I guess Scoia'tael and I was gonna say Skelliger's nuts, but then I realized literally Scoia'tael's like literally the same thing except for like the S and A tier. All right, well, okay. So what we've gotten is Northern Realm needs some good abilities. All right, Nilfgaard time. First ability. All Nilfgaard abilities look the same. Strategic withdrawal. Move an allied Nilfgaardian unit to your hand and boost it by 2. Then play a card. This ability adds 15 provisions. This card is always, this ability has always been really solid. And the fact that you can use a unit's deploy ability, then bounce it back to your hand and use another unit's deploy ability, or use the same unit. It's always been really solid. And right now, on the other hand, I haven't seen any decks really that have been using it, so I'm gonna put it in C tier because it's still solid. Don't get me wrong. All because it's not in the meta doesn't mean it's not solid. It's always gonna be a staple Nilfgaard ability, I believe, and it's just really good. Next we have, what do we got? Imperial Formation. Boost an ally unit by 2, charge 4. Let's evolve an exhausted movie soldier unit from the top of your deck to the top of your deck at 15. So this is basically 13 points because if you're running this ability, you're always going to be running the guy who, if he's on the top of your deck, just he flies on over. Um, I haven't seen this ability be used this patch, so I don't really want to rate it in B tier because I really haven't seen it yet. Um, I don't think it's going to be seen. I think there's two better abilities than this one. I'll give it the B tier because it is a nice 13 points, but it's also something that you can spread out over time. And if you use it earlier, it's also thin, so it's pretty decent overall. It's kind of just the shittier version of Precision Strike. um, because for the precision strike, you thin 2, and you get a little bit more bang for your buck. So yeah, I just think, yeah, I'll give it a B tier. Next is Tactical Decision. Now I think this one's the one that's actually being run in everything right now. Look at the top 3 from your deck and play one, and that's 16. I think this is the one that's going to be used in all the nice Nilfgaard decks right now. It honestly, just every Nilfgaard deck most likely is going to be running this ability, whether it's spying or double ballroom blitz. I mean, this ability, you get to look at the top 3 and play any card, so that's 2 cards in one turn that can go for real huge tempo swings. If you play 2 real big cards, that changes the favor of the game. And I mean, especially with your double ball, where you can shuffle the ball back in and then, you know, play that biddy straight back. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. Next we have Lockdown. Honestly, I'm gonna have to give it a D tier because um, for you're getting 10 provisions, Rich. I mean, it's not the worst part, but I think the worst part is that I mean, say against like I think the only thing that's screwing this over is Precision Strike, but they still have so many points, and Precision Strike is mostly used for if you're doing this on round 2, you're usually thinning. In round 3, you're just getting nicer points. But now you're locking down their hero ability, which wasn't, you know, it was just used for mostly thinning. So now you're just you fucked yourself by running Lockdown. Same thing with Uprising. I mean, Uprising is so good, but at the same time, it's not needed. Like you see, it's like all the top tier hero powers, like they can be locked, and the decks that go with them are still gonna be crazy. So there's just no reason to run Lockdown to begin with. Uh, and I mean, the provisions that you get from it is also kind of abysmal. Enslave sees an enemy unit with 3 or power or less. The value is raised by 1 for every 4 tactic cards in your starting deck. This ability adds 15 provisions. Enslave, I'm gonna give it a solid B tier. I don't think it's better than Tactical Decision, but Enslave right now, it's a solid ability. Um, I don't think people are going to be running that many tactics, and That's why I think it's not going to be as great, but it could still be used in place of like if you're running like maybe the spying deck, you might have some tactics. I'm not really certain how how else you could build a spying deck. I've seen like 2 variants, and the ballroom deck is like basically the same. So you just make a tactic deck, and I mean I don't think that's going to see much play, but just with the enslave hero power, I think it's a solid B tier. Next we have call it. Wow, it's literally the top. Okay. Double cross. Create a unit from your opponent's hand. It costs gives you 17 provisions. It's a solid C tier card because 9 times out of 10, I mean, sure, your opponent's holding these. If you use it at the last moment where your opponent has 3 cards in their hand, I mean, they're bound to have something good, but it doesn't synergize with your deck. But sometimes you will get those good cards that, you know, you don't need synergy with your deck. They're just good overall, right? It doesn't matter. So then you get this really good card that's basically what they have, but basically for a free play. So, I mean, overall, it's pretty good, but I have to give it a C tier just for that. You know, like you know, you might get something good, you might not. I mean, Enslave is just kind of, I wouldn't say Enslave is a better version because Enslave, you can only get so much with Enslave, whereas this, you can get anything, but within boundaries. Like with Enslave, you get to target what you get, but there's a certain boundary. But this, there's no limit, but you only have, there's no limit of what you could get, but there's a limit of what you can get. That sounds weird. It's English language. It's crazy. Alright, the last one, Imposter. Unlock an enemy unit, then spawn its base copy in the opposite row and boosted by 2. It adds 14. I think this ability is going to see a decent amount of play, uh, but it's going to be in B tier. Veil is the thing right now, and Veil is going to stop people from wanting to do this. If you're running your Devotion, if you're running your Evolving card, of course, this is not going to work on round 3. You can't lock that unit. But I mean, there's going to be some good locks because not everything has Veil. But I don't think it's at the A tier. But I think this is the ability that's better than Imperial Formation. I think this ability is better than Imperial Formation, but I think it's still in B tier with it. Just simply because I mean, Veil, it does exist in some of the real nicer cards. You won't be able to lock. I mean, you can still get them. That lock an enemy unit, then spawn its base copy. So you'll still be able to get the unit, but you won't be able to lock it. So they'll probably have better synergy with it. So yeah, I mean that's always a thing. All right, Syndicate. Where are they at? Are they at the top of the... Who puts Syndicate at the top of the list? Who does that? Alright, Blood Money. Damage an enemy unit by 8. Then gain coins equal to the excess damage dealt. This adds 15 provisions. This is being run at the moment, is it not? I know Congregate's one of the things being run at the moment, but I believe Blood Money is also being run. I give Blood Money a solid B tier. Yeah, it's the same as Vicious Slash. It's kind of funny. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, I mean they both deal 8, and they're both good in an early in a small round, and they're both good in a late round. So I mean, just a solid pickup if you if you're not trying to play a standard meta deck, you're trying to go off the curve and maybe try to find a secret counter tech. I think these two, the Vicious Slash and the Blood Money, are pretty good abilities. Next, Congregate. Congregate just in the I think it's in the S tier, honestly. I think the Syndicate Zealot deck right now is pretty good. It's pretty solid and it's pretty good. And I think it's probably better than the 3 other factions we have in A tier right here. This is actually crazy because no faction has had 2 A's or 2 S's yet, which I mean, it shows that their abilities are might need some fixing. I don't know, but Congregate, yeah, I just works with the Zealot package that Master Mirror gave, and Zealots are really strong right now. They're really strong. You run very few units, so it's kind of like you're running an artifact kind of deck. I mean, you don't run any artifacts in it, but you're running a spell like deck. You just spawn all these tokens and then you buff them all up with your spells that you have, and it's pretty good. Next is Hidden Cash. I'm gonna give Hidden Cash an A tier. Gain 2 coins at the beginning of your round, refresh the ability, and your hordes require 2 less coins to trigger. Which is a nice ability overall. You're just getting a nice 6 coins, and your hordes cost 2 less. And I mean, last patch I saw decks use this, and this patch, I mean, nothing really changed. So I think this ability is still going to be run, and I think it's still going to be a really solid list for Syndicate. So yeah, really good. Jackpot, gain 9 coins and then boost an allied unit by the excess amount. This adds 60 provs. I don't know the last time I saw Bensi. I don't know what happened to Bensi. Like, did she die or something? Did they like remove the card? Like, I still see it in my deck builder, but is she like just like is it forbidden to put her in? Like, I don't know. I haven't seen this deck in a while. I don't doubt that it's still good though, so I'm gonna put it in B tier, and it might be still really solid, but I highly doubt it's gonna beat any of the decks up here. Next, we have Lined Pockets. Gain 1 coin, charge 5. Whenever you play a crime card, gain 1 coin. This ability adds 16 provs. So, I mean, this is just one that generates you coin after coin after coin. And you could set up your coins as well. It gives you 1 less coin than the Hidden Cash, but every time you play a crime, of course, you gain a coin. So, I mean, I'm gonna give it a D tier, just because I don't know why you would ever run this when you can just run wild card. Why not just run a wild card like this? I think this needs a rework or something better about it, because right now it's just not. How many provisions it gives? It might change my mind. It gives 16. Ugh. They get like 17 or maybe even 18, and then we can talk. I don't know, because Hidden Cash is 15 and that's 16. Make it 17. Make it 17, and then we'll talk about B tier. Okay, off the books. Order, gain 2 coins, charge 3. Every allied tribute costs 1 less. This adds 16. So it's kind of like Hidden Cash. You get 6 coins. But these 6 coins you can get any time instead of every round, and your tributes cost 1 less coin. I think Horde is better than Tribute right now, so I'm gonna give this a B tier. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a good ability, and I don't think it'll see much play. How you know what you know what we're bringing down back one. We're gonna C tier. It's all right. It's all right. But I think it's still gonna be decent though. It's really close to B tier. but I don't think it makes it for this patch. Then we have Wild Card. Let me see if they nerfed it. Play a Syndicate special card from your deck. If its provisions cost 10 or less, gain 2 coins. It adds 13. It used to add 15. So they did nerf it. I don't think it makes it any worse, however. I think it's still a solid pick, honestly. I don't see how this is not a solid pick. I mean, it's probably just still running like the bounty decks or just the crime decks. I mean, but theoretically, if you wanted a crime deck, you'd honestly just go Congregate Firesworn and then just do that. Just run the Intimidate Firesworn list, and then you're fine. But I mean, I think if you want to be a little different, you can go Wild Card as well. Next for monsters, we have Force of Nature, boost a unit in your hand by 8. I think this ability used to be not that great. Really, no one really ran it, but now I think with dominance being such a special thing now, I think it's gonna be run again, and I think it's actually an A tier. Now this is where monsters really show their true colors because I think a lot of things are about to be an A and S tier. Holy wait, I just realized how many things are gonna be an A and S tier. It's actually insane. But I think Force of Nature is gonna be A tier just because you can get that dominance really easy, and I mean monsters already have so many tall units. Like it doesn't matter if they have tall punish. You're not gonna have that much tall punish. Next we have Carapace, boost an ally unit by 3 and give it shield, charge 2 at 16. Um, this ability also used to be really bad, but just because of the Master Mirror expansion, it all of a sudden just became better. Like, it used to be in like I want to say D tier, but now it's like I'm gonna put it in C tier. I'm gonna put it in C tier. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's honestly really hard to evaluate, but I mean this ability has just gotten better. You can use it in the Wild Hunt decks. Um, of course, you just run Force of Nature. Force of Nature is just the better version to use for your Wild Hunt decks, but I mean Carapace is a nice one. It doesn't stop Morkvarg. Morkvarg is still gonna cut through your shit like a slice of butter, but I mean I mean that's probably why it's in C. Yeah, I'll put it in C just because a Morkvarg exists. All right. That's Shadow. Destroy an allied monster unit, then spawn and play a base copy of this ability at 16 provs. I think people don't give this enough credit. Because there's definitely ability that's better than it, but at the same time, depending on what deck you have, I don't think people give it enough credit. Now I'm gonna have to give it B tier because it's actually pretty decent, and if you can use it properly, like if you can use it on like a Detlaft or at a fucking what's a Ruin Hand, in a long round, like a long round 3, then you're pretty set for life. Arrakis Swarm. Spawn a drone on an allied row. Charge 5. Whenever you play an organic card, spawn a drone. Adds 15. I mean, this just works really well with the Ethereal. I mean, there's another one that works really well with the Ethereal. But, I mean, overall, Arrakis Swarm is still a pretty good, solid leader ability. And I think it's just going to it's going to be used for a while, you know? It's just going to be used and it's going to be abused. And next, now, whoo, baby, Fruits of Yiskith. Let me tell you about this one. The Ethereals are nutty. And honestly, I've had enough. You know what? Because, even if Ethereal didn't exist, there we go. We're actually going to have 3 S's for monsters. Because, I'm just going to put it up there now. Oh my lord. These abilities, man. I'm telling you. These abilities are absolute fucking bonobos. So let's go over each one. I mean, we already went over the Arrakis Swarm. So next is Fruits of Yiskith, of course, spawn a Gurnicorus fruit. At the start of your turn, refresh if you don't control any fruits, and it adds 11 provisions. This is just ethereal train hype all around. See, of course, with the Arrakis Swarm, you'll run out of charges, especially if you're in round 1 or round 2. With Fruits of Yiskith, you're never running out of shit. You're never going to run out. You just keep doing that. You keep doing it. You keep going and going and going and going. Now, if Ethereals didn't exist, I think this would be in a lower tier. Probably B. Arrakis Swarm would still be up here, and Overwhelming Hunger would still be up here. Because right now, those abilities are actually just kind of eating everyone's toxicity out. Overwhelming Hunger especially. I mean, Overwhelming Hunger can definitely counter Great Swords with the way they can eat the Rupture, eat the Bleed, eat the whatever you put on me. Like, just screw you, buddy. I'm gonna eat. You know, it's just crazy, and it enforces dominance to the ever loving roof. Pretty good ability. And honestly, and this is why I say Death Shadow looks overlooked, because that ability exists. And I mean, I think Death Shadow is a good ability, but like Overwhelming Hunger is just kind of nutty. Really just nutty. The last ability we have is Blood Scent. Give an enemy unit bleeding for 3 turns, charge 3 once they've all been used. Spawn a 2-drop, add for 15 provisions. Um, I'll put this in B tier because there's been a lot of I've been getting a lot of friends to play, and I mean in low tier, be it even if it's low tier, there's been a lot of vampires. So I mean it's still on the ranked ladder. So I mean just the fact that vampires exist, I mean I'll give it that a B tier. So from looking at this, my only analysis is that the monster abilities are cracked, and every other ability probably needs some sort of nice little rework, or not rework, but a buff. One that does need a rework is probably Line Pockets, honestly. And I don't know how you honestly rework Stockpile. Stockpile is just dog doo-doo water. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this very trash video on me ranking tier lists. Not oh, I can't even complete the outro. I'm ranking hero abilities in GWENT. Alright guys, well, if you enjoyed this video, remember to tell all your friends that I'm back, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.